Hi everyone, I'm Marcy, and today I'm making Chile Colorado Con Carne. This is a classic, delicious dish that I make exclusively with red New Mexico chili pods. And once you learn how to make this chili sauce, you can use it in countless Mexican dishes. It just so happens that today we're making Chile Colorado Con Carne, which is just Spanish for red chili with meat. Chile Colorado Con Carne can be made with any kind of meat. In fact, when my mom makes it, she always uses a combination of pork and beef. But today I'm just making it with beef. This is about 1.5 pounds, and I've already got it cut into little cubes. Then you'll need about 10 New Mexico Red Chile Pods. These come in hot, medium, or mild, so you kind of have to know your own heat tolerance and use what works for you. You'll also need 3 garlic cloves, about 1 tablespoon of Mexican oregano. I've got 1 tablespoon of cumin, which, by the way, let me just say real quickly, every time that I make my chili and I use cumin, people will write in the comments that that is an outrage, that I shouldn't be using it, that sort of thing. But I love cumin in my chili. And if you don't like it, easy solution, just don't use it and you'll be just fine. You'll also need about 1 teaspoon of salt, or just salt to taste, a couple of bay leaves, and then this is optional, but I like to sprinkle just a little bit of flour over the meat. It helps to give it just a little bit of a coating when we go to brown it, and then it also helps to thicken the sauce. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm first going to remove the stems and seeds from each of these chili pods. I typically use a small knife to do this, and it makes quick work of things. Once all the stems and seeds are removed, if there's any dirt on the outside of the pods, I quickly rinse them off with cold water, but these ones are clean, so I'm just going to place them into a sieve with a bowl underneath, and then I take boiling hot water and pour it over the chili, making sure they're completely covered in water. Then let them steep for 10 to 15 minutes so that the chili begins to rehydrate and soften. Once softened, take the strainer out of the water and place the chili into a blender or food processor. To it, add the garlic, the oregano, the cumin, and the salt. Next, take about 3 cups of the chili water that was left in the bowl and pour it into the blender. Then we can puree. I let my blender go for quite a while until I no longer see any flecks of chili circling around. Perfect. If you don't let your blender go long enough and you still see those flecks of chili in your sauce, then you're gonna have to run it through a fine mesh strainer. But this works perfectly for me, and I love how beautiful and bright red the color is. I'm gonna go ahead and set it aside for now and head over to the stove. Now we heat up a large pot over medium-high heat with just a little oil to coat the bottom of the pan. As it's heating, I season my pieces of meat with salt and then sprinkle a small amount of flour over them, and I just mix it all with clean hands. Then we can put the meat into the pot so that it can brown, being careful not to overcrowd the pan. Once the meat is browned on all sides, we can pour in our chili sauce. I make sure I get every last drop and often add just a bit of water to swish it around the blender in the end. Give everything a good mix. Add a couple of bay leaves and let it come to a boil. When it reaches a boil, lower the heat and let it cook covered for 30 minutes. Now you're probably wondering what the difference is between Chile Colorado Con Carne and carne adobada, and they are very, very similar. The difference is carne adobada is only made with pork, and typically it's cut into larger pieces. You first fry it on the stove top, and then you let it stew for at least a couple of hours so that the meat gets really, really tender. Typically I do that part in the oven. But Chile Colorado Con Carne can be made with any kind of meat, and typically it's cut much smaller and it's just cooked on the stovetop for much less time. But either recipe is fantastic. I'll go ahead and include a link to my carne adobada recipe so that you can check that out for yourself. This Chile Colorado is done. You've got to take a look. It is absolutely beautiful and it smells amazing. I'm going to be serving this with rice and beans, and then we'll give it a taste. Every culture has its staple foods, and in my culture, this plate is basically it. It's just simple home cooking at its finest, and my mouth is watering. It's fantastic. The meat is nice and tender, and then there's so many layers to the flavors in this red chili sauce. I really hope you make it, and I hope you love it as much as I do. This would make a really great burrito too, by the way. Thanks so much for checking out this video. If you liked it, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. I also invite you to follow me at Marcy Inspired on Instagram and Facebook. Until next time, blessings from my kitchen to yours.